Today, I will be showing you guys overrated versus underrated tricks in Stumble, guys. And the best part is you might even learn a new trick in this video. So let's hop into the first overrated or underrated one. Okay, so for the first overrated trick in Stumble, guys, we have the wraparound trick. Now, the reason that this is one of the most overrated tricks in the entire game is because of the success rate. The success rate for a normal average player to hit this trick is probably 40 to 50%. Half of the people make it and half of the people miss it. But in this video, I'm going to be explaining the reasoning why I'm calling it overrated and why I'm calling it underrated. And after you've watched this video, you should start using the underrated ones way more and the overrated ones way less. But back to the wraparound. The only time you should be using it is if you're a good player and you 100% have mastered it, which I'd say 99.999% of players have not mastered this trick yet. So basically, nobody should ever be wrapping around because there's two other options that you can do that we will be getting into later in the video. About 2 years ago, this used to be one of the easiest things you could ever do. But now it's one of the hardest tricks in the game, which is why it's overrated and you should never, ever use it. Okay, so now I'm going to be going into an underrated trick that you guys need to use more, but I think a lot of you already do use this. Now, let me specify. An underrated trick does not mean that a lot of people do not know about it, and it's not a highly used trick. It just means that you need to be doing this one instead of the overrated ones, because some people do the wraparound over this, and it makes me so mad every single time I see it. And by the way, we will not be doing overrated, underrated, overrated, underrated. We'll be doing overrated, overrated, underrated once, and then overrated 2 more times, underrated 3 times. It's just going to be a whole mix in the entire video, so grab your popcorn and relax. Here we go. So for the first underrated trick, it is going to be the phase. You guys are probably really confused on why the phase is underrated, but this is a much safer option than the wraparound, because the wraparound, you're literally at the lasers. You have a chance of dying. With the phase, if you know you're stuck, you can at least go for the phase and have a better chance of hitting it. And even if you do not hit the phase, you then have another chance to clutch right after it. You don't need to die. So if I'm stuck on this block right here and I know I'm about to die, I would not go for a wraparound. I would go for a phase. Okay. Maybe in the 100 attempts that you try on a phase, you will get stuck in the block. But right there, it was way smarter to go for a phase, because if I missed that phase, I would be able to try a 2-block clutch. If I go for the wraparound and miss it, I'm dead no matter what. At least if you miss a phase, you have another chance at life. Okay, heading into the next trick that's either underrated or overrated. Before we do it, I just want to tell you that a lot of the tricks in this video you might have seen before, but this video is to not show you tricks, it's to tell you what tricks are good and what tricks are bad. Bad being overrated and good being underrated. So please do not comment that, because I already know there's going to be a few people that be like, oh, I've seen all these tricks. I am telling you which ones to use and which ones to stay away from, to help you guys become better players. And that's my whole goal of my channel. Here we go. So the next trick is actually an underrated one with the sword emote. So if you're a sword man out there, this trick is for you, and it is a very underrated trick. So with the removal of taunt, if you guys do have the sword emote actually acts the same way the taunt emote does. It stops your momentum completely. So what I'm going to do is show you guys how good it is in the map Rush Hour. So I'm just going to go right here, and when I use it, it will stop my momentum entirely. So just like that, it will completely stop me. You are standing still for a bit, so it might not be that good in a lobby full of emotes. But if you are in a sword-only lobby, or honestly just a public lobby where there's not a lot of emotes going around, this is actually a very underrated trick that you can use. But what I want to test is if it works on the 1 block, because I know a lot of people struggle jumping onto the 1 block in Rush Hour. So this is a 1 block. Let's see if it will completely stop my momentum. Okay, so it does not work on a 1 block, but I would not use it on a 1 block. I would honestly only use it on cars that you have a lot of trouble standing on, especially the skinny ones. Okay, for the next overrated trick, we have the map Shark Muta Triangle, and this is a trick that I see a lot of players do that is so stupid. Now, when you first load into the map, as you can see, there's a shark to your left. A lot of people like to be classy and jump on the shark when it's the dumbest thing you could do and the most overrated thing ever. As you can see, this player right here can literally jump on me and just punch me off, and I have no time to react. Just like that. That will happen almost every single time that players jump on the shark, and I see at least 3 guys going on it every single time that map loads in. Okay, the next underrated trick in Stumble, guys, we have the map Yeti Yeets. Now, the most underrated thing that you can do in this map is actually go back to these trampolines, which not a lot of people ever do. They think it's mostly just to save you, but you can actually get so much airtime with these trampolines. But don't worry, that's not what trick I'm showing you. There's actually something that you can do to actually stay on these almost the entire game. So obviously you jump on it, then you want to use the double jump emote. But right there, I actually got a pretty good sense. So right here, I'm going to use the double jump emote, and it's going to... Oh my god, I just used a shield instead of double jump. Oh my goodness, okay. Dang, I'm actually getting really good sense, but usually the double jump emote will actually cancel it. So if you ever get a bad send with one of these trampolines, you can literally just use the emote. But if you go from left to right, you can almost stay here the entire game. But obviously, when you do dive like that, that's when you completely get the wrong send. So make sure you never dive into the trampoline. But that is a super underrated trick that every player can use. As long as you have the double jump emote, it makes it easier. But you can even do it without the emote. Okay, everybody know I had to include this in the video because it is a trick and there is a way to rate it. But when you think of the trick, the clutch, the most famous trick in the entire game, I feel like it would be split. Some people would say it's super underrated, but it's not really underrated if it is super popular. Now I know I did say earlier in the video that popular does not necessarily mean overrated, and I stand by that. But also people would say it's overrated because they are not good at it, and they would be like, yo, the clutch is one of the hardest things in the game. So many people go for it, it's overrated. But in my opinion, the clutch is the most properly rated trick in the entire game. There's nothing more basic and more in the middle of everybody's skill than the clutch. I mean, most players can hit it, most players cannot, and that's why it is properly rated. It is the most middle trick in the entire game. But what I want to know is everybody down in the comments below, if you're subscribed, to comment down below what you think the clutch is. Is it overrated, underrated, or properly rated? I think it is 100% properly rated. The most properly rated thing in the entire game of Stumble, guys. All right, next we're going to shift into an underrated trick on the map Tornado Temple. But honestly, this trick is either extremely underrated in 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s where there's a low amount of players, but extremely overrated when there's a lot of players, like a 32-player lobby. So for example, if you are in a 32-player lobby and you try and go for this trick right here, most of the players will body block you because majority of the players in the lobby will also be going for the same exact trick. But if you are in a 1v1 like I was just in, you will hit this trick every single time. And honestly, I'll teach this one to you guys. You want to hit the spacebar right here, and you will get a bounce, and then you will get the momentum of the entire game with these wind tubes. So that one's either an overrated or an underrated, depending on the circumstance, which is the first of this video. So I like switching up a little bit, so that's good as well. And this one is always going to be underrated because not a lot of people go for it. And if you do make it to this area, the likely chance of there being 5 or more players there body blocking you is very low. So you should always go for this one right here. It's always going to be a hit. Let's do 2 underrated tricks in a row. And this is a trick that a lot of people do, but it is very underrated. And if you do not do it, start doing it today. So we are actually waiting to get to the spikes right now because this is the most underrated thing that you can do in Block Dash if you're not confident with any of your playstyles. Okay, so once you make it to the spikes, everybody knows this. Jump, dive at the spikes, and you pass them every single time. I'm not really going to be on this one that much because I would say majority of the players know this. But guys, you always have to remember, there's always new people joining Stumble, guys, every single day. So if you're a pro watching this video, you obviously know that trick. But if you just started and you're looking out for a good tricks video, this is perfect for you, and you need to do that every single time. Okay, the next trick is actually going to be another underrated one in the map Lost Temple. Now, whenever you guys make it up here, most of the time, this part right over here will be so crowded with so many people. And you will always be a lone wolf at this part, because everybody knows this part's faster. But what you can actually do is get by these spikes, and then wait right here, and then go right over here. Now, this is so underrated, because not a lot of people know about it, and you can get out of harm's way and then make the skip right after it. You don't need to be in this whole area of crowded people where you can just get up here and then jump to that block right over there. Okay, so for the next trick, we actually have an underrated trick, and it's in the map Bot Bash. And as crazy as this is gonna sound, this trick is actually super underrated. So me and Mansur are actually gonna be 1v1ing, but I'm gonna be going on the side of the map, and this is way easier than it looks. I would be surviving longer doing this than actually playing Bot Bash. So as you can see, it's super easy. It's very hard to learn, though. I've done it for almost 2 years now. I'm very good at it. But if you are good at this, I'm literally out of harm's way, and every single thing that could happen to me in this map is now unavailable, because I'm just not able to get hit by any bots. The only thing that can kill you is when the paint comes, so I might have to get off of it and then come back onto it, but I'm not really sure. But as you can tell, it's been 40 seconds, and I am still going strong. Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm literally about to win a 1v1 while only going on the side of the map. This shows how underrated that this trick really is. And there we go. 1 minute, bro. If you're versing any sort of average player, that trick will work 100% of the time if you're good at it. If I was versing a noob there, I 100% win that 1v1. But Mansur is a pro, so we have to go to the next trick. Right, and for the final, and we're going to end it off with underrated, is how to score almost every single goal in soccer. So I have a 3v3 with my Discord right now. By the way, if you are not in my Discord, I'm going to be doing more videos in there than ever. I'll put the link in the description. Just beware. There's a lot of people in there that you might not like, so I would only just mute everything else and just keep the custom channel open. But the way that you can score the most goals is by going at the very bottom, just like that. Bringing the goal up and then jumping and diving is how you score every single goal. Me and this guy are doing it right now. You want to go right here. You want to bring it forward and then jump dive really quick. As you can see, we have 4-0, 5-0, and you can stay midfield and just keep doing this technique every single time. You don't even need to do it midfield. Just right here, you see how powerful it is. But when you do it the good way, it gets airtime, and as you can see, top right corner, Ronaldo or Messi, goal right there, bro. That's insane. Most underrated and a perfect way to end off the video. 13-0. This is the biggest destruction I have ever seen in Stumble Soccer in my entire life.